Hi, my dear students. Very good morning to everyone. Welcome to the next session of our science class under the lesson animal fiber. In the previous video, we discussed about different processes that were involved in the extraction of wool from the animals and going to be manufacturing of the woolen fabrics. What are the stages we already discussed so far? Shearing, washing or scoring, sorting or wool classing, bleaching, dyeing, combing or cording, rolling or twisting, and spinning. Okay, let's continue the next part of the lesson. Have you, here you can see it being wound on willing spools as well. So willing also takes place by the combination of different woolen fibers. They are going to be produce yarn. Okay, thus we get the yarn which may be dyed before weaving. Here already we discussed about bleaching and dyeing. Okay, this dyeing can be done before the manufacturing preparation of yarn or after the preparation of yarn also. Before weaving, we can able to dye it. Any possibility we can use out here. Grandpa, how can I use those needles? You can see the figure 14 of your textbook. How can I use those needles? What are they doing with those needles? Neelima, they are knitting woolen fabrics. Knitting woolen fabrics. Knitting woolen fabrics by using those needles. So, in order to knit the wool fabrics by hand, we use needles. In Telugu, we call it alladam. Wool can be knit easily because it has a natural bend or crimp on it. Natural bend or you can say crimp on it. It can bend very easily. Whatever way we want, so that we can able to knit woolen fabrics, right? Yes, by making knots and loops. You have to remember these words: knots and loops. In knots you can say mullu. Loops, you can see different coiling structures. You can have this type of loops like this. In between, one more thread will pass out. Finally, they will tighten out all those things. So you can have the knots then. When this passes through the loops, we can have the knots then. Right? Now, in addition to handmade process of knitting, hand looms and power looms are also used on which woolen yarn is woven to make the fabric. We learnt in making of silk fabrics with the help of looms, both hand looms as well as the power looms. Silk fiber cannot be knit. The knitting process cannot be done by the silk fiber because it doesn't bend and it's very smooth. It will easily loose out. Very difficult to knit it. That's why we use it knitting of the weaving of the woolen fabrics with the help of hand looms and power looms, or even we can do it with the help of needles. Whereas silk fiber is used to make the silk fabrics by the help of only looms, that is both the hand looms as well as the power looms. Right? Now, woolen threads are stretched from top of the loom to the bottom. Woolen threads are stretched from top of the loom to the bottom. They will be stretched out. You can see in this figure say. Right? Now what they will do then? These are called warp threads. These are called warp threads. Warp threads. These are called warp threads. Which one? Vertical one, which are stretched from top of the loom to the bottom of the loom. These are said to be called warp threads. The threads that go side to side, the threads that go side to side, like this you can say, from this side to that side, like that. We can have the movement. Okay, my students, the threads that move from side to side are called weft threads. What threads are these called? Weft threads. Weft threads. Okay, my dear students. So from top to bottom, you have warp threads. These were closely packed. Okay, somewhat might very closer, somewhat. Okay, and we have the threads that move from side to side in this manner, side to side, and these are called weft threads. Side to side movement threads are weft threads. Movements which move from top to bottom, which were stretched from top to bottom, are called warp threads. Are called warp threads. Okay, my dear students. Yes. A shuttle like a big needle takes the weft threads over and under the warp threads. Over and under the warp threads. For example, see, this is the first weft thread, no? It will move on. It passes over the first warp thread. Then what happens? It moves under the next warp thread. Again it comes over the third one. So like in the alternate ways, we can have one below the other. Okay, one side, one for the one rope, it will be on the top and on the bottom side. So a shuttle like a big needle takes the weft threads over and under the weft threads. One more important part of the loom is the harness. The harness lifts every warp thread so that harness lifts every warp thread so that it makes the weft threads to go over one and under the next. So here they have one more arrangement called harness. So if they press the harness, one thread moves up, for example. Which one? Warp thread. Then the weft thread goes. And again if they press, the next, which one? Weft thread. Sorry, warp thread moves down. So the weft thread can easily move on. Weft thread. So one below and one over. The harness, if they press the harness, what happens? It makes the weft threads to move over and below the warp threads which are in vertical. You can remember, these vertical threads are warp threads and horizontal threads are weft threads. Okay. Now, Neelima was surprised. All the types of yarn, whether cotton or silk or wool, etc., are woven in this fabric. If you have a fabric, so you can have a lot of fabrics in your house, and if you can expose that fabric towards the light, bright light, you can see the arrangement of horizontal and vertical threads. You can see. Even a freshly prepared fabric, you purchase out a cloth, at the end you can able to observe this horizontal as well as the vertical. Okay. Neelima was surprised to see how fast the knitting was being carried out. She sat near a man to observe and learn how to knit. And here what happens? The weft thread passes over and below the which threads? Warp threads. Who can make this possible? The harness. If you lift the harness, what it happens? Every time the harness lifts one thread up and one thread below, one thread up and one thread below. Which threads? Warp threads. Whereas the weft threads move from left to right or right to left, whatever it may be, so that every time the closingness of the threads will takes place. Neelima purchased a book about the woolen fabrics and a sweater for her grandma and returned home. At home, Neelima made a flow chart to show the process involved from obtaining the wool to producing fabric. Here after spinning, we have the process called weaving. And then ultimately we have woolen fabric. This is how the process of woolen fabric takes place. How we can able to obtain the woolen fabric. These are the different stages involved, process involved, you can say. At home, Neelima made a flow chart to show the processes involved from obtaining wool to producing fabric. Here she listed down. You can see in textbook page number 25. Shearing, scoring, sorting, bleaching, dyeing, combing or cording, spinning, rolling and twisting, weaving or knitting, woolen fabric finally obtained. Now, here what is asking for us? Grandpa asked Neelima to check and make corrections in the sequence. Here just now we observed one sequence now. Neelima's grandfather asked her to check the sequence and make the corrections in it. What corrections do you think Neelima needs to make? Just now you saw this flow chart, the sequence of processes involved in obtaining the woolen fabric from wool, that is from the wool giving animals. And if there is any mistake in this sequence, we have to rearrange them and draw it again. So this is a homework part for you. This is a homework part for you. So now I ask each and every student to draw this flow chart neatly in your notebook, and whatever mistake which had in it, you rearrange it, make the corrections, and then draw the flow chart properly and send to my WhatsApp number. Okay? That's all. Now, Neelima thought that silk and wool are also natural fibers like cotton. She wanted to find out the differences between the wool and silk. Neelima wants to find silk. Can we find the differences to her? Can you have the differences? Yes. What are the difference? We can check it out here. We can see wool. Silk is obtained from silkworm, whereas wool is obtained from, yes, sheep, goat, yak, llama, alpaca, angora goat, etc. Here we can have the wool is cleaned by different process we observed, bleaching, okay, washing or scoring we did. Whereas silk thread doesn't possess any grease or so, there is no need of cleaning and everything. And woolen fibers are combed out, whereas silk fibers are combing is not necessary. Okay, so in this way she has written some things here. Silk, it is mainly a protein. Silk is made up of how many types of proteins? Very good, 2 types of proteins. What are they? Yes, sericin and fibroin. Whereas if we take out cotton mainly a carbohydrate called cellulose. She wants to have the comparisons between silk and cotton. Cotton is natural fiber. Silk is also a natural fiber. Silk is obtained from animal, whereas cotton is obtained from, yes, plants. So this is a plant fiber and that is an animal fiber. It is made up of protein, it is made up of a carbohydrate called cellulose, and both the process of preparing threads will be same. Okay, my dear students, do you know that? Very important paragraph this one. Wool is a poor conductor of heat. Wool is a poor conductor of heat. The air trapped in between the woolen fibers and our body prevents the flow of heat from our body to the surroundings. This is what I explained at the introduction of the wool. Generally we feel cold in winters, so nobody will guess. So mostly you people will guess why we feel cold. We say outside temperature is very low. So what happens is, here we should remember the word heat. Heat generally flows from hot body to cold body. Heat generally flows from hot body to cold body. So our general body temperature is 98.4 degrees Fahrenheit or 37 degrees centigrade. In winter you can see the surrounding temperatures, atmospheric temperature falls drastically. A change in we can have a difference of 5 to 10 degrees or even more. sometimes we witness a temperature of nearly 20 degrees outside. Whereas in Delhi, Jammu, Kashmir, if we consider, we can have even negative temperatures, temperature below 0 degrees. Okay, so what happens? As atmospheric or surrounding temperature is very low, the heat which is present in our body travels from our body to the surroundings. So when there is a loss of heat from our body, we feel cool. The body becomes cool, the temperature reduces. In order to control the flow of heat from our body to the surroundings, okay, there must be a resistor. Something is to be there in order to control it. That is, here the woolen fabrics can act as an absolute insulators of transferring the heat from our body to the surroundings. Whatever the air which is trapped between the woolen fabric and our body, when we close our body with woolen fabrics, the gap between us and the woolen fabric, we have trapping of air between them, and this air which is a poor conductor of it doesn't allow the air which is present, which doesn't allow the heat to travel out from the woolen fabric, so that we cannot lose heat. Okay, so we feel hot and are protected from cold. Woolen cloths also helps to douse fire. Douse means stop. When a small certain fire accident takes place, we can stop them by using the woolen clothes. So when someone is caught fire, generally we cover them with blankets. Why? Because fire means here combustion takes place. It needs lot of oxygen. So when we stop, the supply of oxygen or the air to them, burning stops. So as we just now discussed, wool is a poor conductor of heat, and so that if we cover the body of that person with woolen cloths or so, it stops when the continuation of the fire may be stopped or the combustion may be reduced down to a greater level. Okay, think why it is a good to wrap a person who is caught in the fire blanket. Just now I said it is a poor conductor of heat and it doesn't allow the air to close to the body. What happens whenever there is no supply of air? Combustion doesn't take place. The burning stops. So what are the different keywords learned in this lesson? Yes, animal fiber, silkworm, cocoon, mulberry, sericulture, bombyx mori, reeling, fleecing, shearing, scoring, knitting, bleaching, weaving, dyeing, warp and weft threads. Okay, now what we have learned so far in this lesson? Just a very recap this. Animal fibers are natural fibers. Yes, just we discussed about in the previous class, 6th class we learnt about jute and cotton fibers. Those are all natural. Those are plant fibers and these are animal fibers. Animal fiber is a protein while the plant fiber is a carbohydrate. Just now we discussed it. Plant cotton is made up of a carbohydrate called cellulose, whereas silk made up of protein called sericin and fibroin. Rearing of silkworms for obtaining silk is called sericulture. Most important point to be remembered. Rearing of silkworms for obtaining the silk is called, yes, sericulture. Egg, larva, pupa, adult moth are the different stages in the life cycle of silkworm. As we saw in the life cycle of flow chart showing, the diagram showing the life cycle of a silkworm. Separation of silk fiber from cocoon is called reeling. Hair of the animals like goat, sheep, camel, etc. are used to obtain what? Yes, woolen fiber. Angora goat hair is soft to spin different types of fabrics like shawls and sweaters, which we discussed already. Whereas the hair of the camel is coarse, rough and coarse. Removing of hair or fleece from the skin of sheep is called shearing. Cleaning of the fleece with a stream of water is said to be called washing or scoring. Knitting is the process of making the fabric by using the knitting needles. to form interlocking loops so that it cannot separate it out. Interlocking loops and woolen yarn and the rings of woolen yarn. Okay, my dear students. Here, before going to the improve your learning portion, go through page number 27, where we have the different introductions of wool to the society, how it has been made familiar to the people, how it has been discovered. Read and enjoy. Silk, that's how it began. Chinese traditions, along with the writings of the Confucius tell the same 2700 BC tale. It states that Empress Lizu or Xi Lingxi was having tea one day under a mulberry tree with her husband. Okay, both the emperor and the queen and the king had a cup of tea under the mulberry tree. Suddenly what happens is, Emperor Huangdi, when a silkworm's cocoon fell into her cup. So when they were sitting under tea having cup of tea, a cocoon has been fallen from the mulberry tree. What happened? In an attempt to take it out, the thread of the cocoon began to unroll. And vidipoyin thread when it is fall into the hot cup of tea. So the empress thought of weaving the thread. The emperor encouraged his wife to study the life of the silkworm, and so she learnt the art of raising the silkworms, or which we call it as sericulture. Obtaining silk from silkworms is called sericulture. Her finding was taught as well, and thus the advent of the silk industry took place. However, archaeological evidence means తవ్వకాలు జరుపుతారు. ఏన్షియంట్ హిస్టరీలో ఏవైనా మనకి ఫైండింగ్స్ అవి ఉండిపోతే వాటిని ఆర్కియలాజికల్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్స్ ఫైండ్ చేస్తుంటుంది. సో ఆర్కియలాజికల్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ ఎవిడెన్సెస్ షో ది ఆరిజిన్ మీన్స్ బర్త్ ఆఫ్ సిల్క్ ఇండస్ట్రీ ట్రేసెస్ బ్యాక్ 3000 and 5000 BC. So story had somewhat relevant because it is 2700 BC. The sites of the Angshava culture in Xia country, Zhangzi, reveal a cocoon of a Bombyx mori or a domesticated worm along with the silk weaving looms. So this is how about the story of a silk which has been begun from 2700 BC. Now coming to world of the wool. How the wool has been, when the wool has been discovered. Woolen fabrics are as ancient as human civilization. According to the archaeological evidences, domestication of woolly sheep may have started around 6000 BC, way long back, by early Iranians. So the Iran people first used to domesticate this woolly sheep. Earliest woven wool garments are dated around 2000 to 3000 years later. In the 15th century, the British made laws to control the wool smuggling, and at one time they punished people even by cutting off their hands. When they used to export this wool to some other places, they used to give punishment by cutting off their hands. The Industrial Revolution introduced mass production of wool. You might have heard about Industrial Revolution. Revolution means any sudden change. So the sudden change that takes place in the field of industry is said to be known as Industrial Revolution. And the invention of the potter wheel has changed this entire world. Because of the invention of the wheel only, Industrial Revolution took place. And the leaders of the wool production are Australia and China. So leading production of the wool, the leaders of the wool production are mainly Australia and China. Okay, my dear students. So by this we have completed this lesson portion, and when we meet out in the next video, we will discuss about improve your learning portion. Discuss about improve your learning. Whatever doubts you have, you can able to get clarify in our Zoom interaction class. Okay, my dear students. So whatever the different questions that were covered in the improve your learning portion, we will have a discuss through it deeply in our next video. Okay, my dear students. Until then, bye. Have a nice day.